must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Viewers, good morning. This morning I want to address the issue of Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. The legacy of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya keeps on moving, keeps on going forward and forward. Since the handshake in 2018 that brought about the peace, the tranquility, the unity of purpose, President Uhuru's star has been rising. All over Africa, people are thinking of using the model that Kenya used to stop any form of violence, chaos on the streets after elections. As you know, all of you are aware that elections in Africa produce two things: after or before or after the voting. Disputed elections, winner takes it all, loser doesn't accept the results. But the Kenyan model takes us miles and miles away from the normal type of democracy. The democracy, a negotiated format, a consensus format. A democracy that gives consensus a chance. A democracy that talks about the future of a country, the unity of a country, as opposed to a fragmented country, polarized country, where most African countries find themselves in. We have seen in the last 10 years or so, most of the elections in Africa have been contested by the opposition. Very few people in Africa, countries in Africa, where opposition has conceded defeat and come up to congratulate the winner. We have seen the South African model has worked very well. The Ghanaian model has worked so well. I don't see any other country in Africa where the models have worked well. I thought it would be Sierra Leone, but today we see Sierra Leone going back to the same ethnic tensions, as you can see from the reports that are circulating in the international media and the local media. So elections in Africa are contentious issues. They create a contentious position, create a departing point for the people of Africa, of that particular nation. The legacy of Uhuru Kenyatta, therefore, will be remembered for having brought the tranquility that we have today, the peace, the new format, the new tool of having a better organized civil Africa, an Africa without violence, an Africa without chaos after elections when the opposition accepts to work for the interests of a nation, not personal interests. This has worked in Kenya, and I thank you very much, Your Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, for the tenacity and the steadfastness that you have guided this handshake up to today. For those who want to mutilate the handshake, belittle the handshake, one lesson they should learn is to look at Libya. Libya was once a territory we all respected. It is no more. Let's keep the handshake and the legacy of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Thank you.
Launching the BBI Task Force report. Makofi.
Your Excellency, I am very happy that the document, the recommendations, and the proposals that have been put forward informs us on how to build institutions to get our politics away from personalities and ethnicities to institutions that will carry all of us irrespective of who we are, where we come from, the language we speak, or the political party we subscribe to.
Kusema ya kwamba pesa mingi ije mashinani, tunaunga mkono. Ipelekwe mpaka ifike kama kuanzia 35% kuelekea juu. Hiyo pesa itumike kwa mambo ya maendeleo, not for consumption. Recurrent expenditure should not be above 30%. 70% should go for development.
Ni kwa nini baada ya kila miaka mitano tunaenda miaka mitatu ya kazi, miaka ya 2 tunapoteza kwa sababu siasa imechacha? Tunataka tuulize wafanyabiashara wetu wenzetu, ni nini inawazuia? Ni nini tuwaweza kufanya ndio tuhakikishe ya kwamba biashara zenu hazisimami? We must have development plans that are 20 years plus if we are to resolve our problems, my brothers and sisters. Tunataka tuwapatie assurance ya kwamba wanaweza kupatia wananchi mikopo ya miaka 10, miaka 15, kwa sababu they have confidence ya kwamba Kenya will be stable and Kenya will always have leadership, whoever it is.
The International Court of Justice is a court that was created to solve problems of disputes of any nature. But this court was created on the basis that times could change and the constitutionalism and the mandate could also change. The International Court of Justice has never changed. In this court, there is no chamber for appeal. There is no chamber for amicus curiae, for people to bring in their opinions in terms of individuals or organizations that are hurt in one way or the other, or good opinions that could shape the outcome of the findings or the cases filed there. This court, therefore, remains one of the most obnoxious, one of the most opaque institutions whose findings we don't know who decides and how the decisions are taken, how stakeholders are supposed to recourse to a remedy. Where to get a remedy, we don't know. A court has no chambers, no lower chamber, no upper chamber for appeal. It has itself as a final court of jurisdiction around the world. Are the people of the world going to say, is Somalia and Kenya going into this court, seeing the obstacles that they will cause for the region? Those are the questions I ask. And I want my viewers and those listening to this tape to understand that Africa needs to solve the problem in an African way. There is no other way to solve the problem of Somalia and Kenya amicably than sitting on a table to have a discussion, find ways of resolving the conflict that has brought us to not talking terms. But Somalia seems to be pushed by external darker forces to go and dismember the unity that we have in the Great Lakes region and the Horn of Africa. ICJ as a court is an institution that is very opaque, very dark in its sense of darkness, that you don't know how decisions are made. There is no counter checks and balances in the decision making. I therefore urge Somalia and Kenya not to attend this court. I urge Somalia and Kenya to avoid this court for the sake of peace in the Indian Ocean. I also have called upon the countries that are supporting Somalia to take this case, to withdraw their support for the sake of security, because we have only one common enemy. The enemy are the terrorists killing the innocent Somalis who need our help to be liberated from these fighters who have come and gathered in the great once country, or the Pearl, one of the Pan-African countries in Africa. Thank you very much, viewers. That is my message to the world. Let's spread it. The International Court of Justice is opaque. It doesn't have appeal chamber. It doesn't have preparation chamber. It doesn't have any. Once the decision is made, the decision is final. Do we need that? Do we call that democratic? I leave it to you. Thank you.
So thank you for making the time. I don't know how many people here in the room know or visited Africa, the continent, but I think it will be interesting to use this half an hour to really not only promote what the continent and what your respective countries have to offer, but also to explain why all these investors who are at the Future Investment Initiative should look at Africa.
What China has seen in Africa is opportunity. And they have matched that opportunity with an eagerness and a willingness on the part of new progressive governments on the African continent who are desirous for investment, job creation, growth in their economies, redeveloping broken down infrastructure. China saw an opportunity. It matched. Russia, they have decided also they want a piece of that action. Here we are in the age of the airplane and fast-moving ships, and yet the trade between Saudi Arabia and the Gulf in general is not even a quarter of the trade that existed between Saudi Arabia, the Gulf, and the East African region 200 years ago, when the only vessel available was the dhow. So what does this mean? It means that we are natural partners. It means that our trade existed well before even the colonial era period. These are the trade links that we need to reestablish, to realize that we are natural partners, to realize that the opportunities that exist for mutual prosperity in between our two regions are tremendous. We're telling the world, come, Africa is open for business. Africa's enemies are only those who see us in negative light.
Absolutely.
Africa wants to be a friend to all.
Absolutely.
And is open for business.
Absolutely.
We're ahead of them in our civilization. They set out to destroy us. And Berlin Conference put the nail on that coffin. So they gave Djibouti the same sovereignty as the United States. They gave Burundi the same sovereignty as China. They gave Togo. You see, the EU realizes individual little countries, they can't survive on the world stage. So they come together as the European Union. Now picture this now. So they cut up this Africa into the tiny little countries, small economies that could never survive on their own, but gave them the same sovereignty as the big boys. So that way, when the little bitty countries go to the world stage for the purposes of development and discussing trade, they're wannabe boxers who are being thrown into the heavyweight boxing ring every day. How do you put China in the same boxing ring with Eswatini? Eswatini has 1.2 million people. China has 1.4 billion people. And you put them on the same stage and say, go at it, negotiate. Are you with me?
Yes.
This is insanity of the highest order. How have we allowed this carnage to go on? When Eswatini is thrown in the same boxing ring with China and Eswatini collapses before Eswatini even gets on the stage, the world says, well, Eswatini, what's wrong with you? Why can't you take care of your people? Well, China came in and said, Eswatini, give me all your gold or else. And if Eswatini does not agree, they just go on next door to Lesotho and give Lesotho an extra $1. And if Lesotho doesn't take it, they just jump on to Togo, Central African Republic. It was all by design. 1884. They did something else in addition to chopping us up. They also set out to make the African believe that everything African was bad and undesirable, and everything Western, particularly French and British, was more desirable. We call that the legacy of colonization. Prior to that, they started long working on the slaves. Make them think everything about them, forget anything about Africa. Where you come from is a horrible place, diseased and dying people, constantly at war with themselves, uncivilized. Cut out any communications with them. You need to just know what we tell you. And we call that the legacy of slavery. So that's where you look at where we are today. 135 years later, a system that was put in place to see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated, that Africa is forever exploited, remains in place today, alive and well. And we sit here and we ask ourselves, why isn't Africa moving forward? Why does Africa continue to be taken advantage of? Well, I'll tell you why, very simply. Until Africa comes together as a continent speaking with one voice, one continent, one people, nothing, and I repeat, nothing is gonna change. As individual little African countries, we are wannabe boxers. we will never make it fighting against the heavyweights. We must speak with one voice. Yes. And this is exactly what our Pan-African leaders wanted to see happen in 1963 when they came together in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. They clearly stated that Africa for the Africans at home and abroad, and that African Union was now. They said Africa must speak with one voice. It is the only way for Africa to take its rightful place on the world stage. Sadly, when they went to Addis Ababa in 1963, they were divided. We had two factions, the Casablanca group and the Monrovia group. The Casablanca group were saying Africa for the Africans at home and abroad, and African Union now. This was Ghana, Guinea, Mali, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. Only 7. The other 25 of the 32 who attended were the Monrovia group. They were the nationalists. They said, let's go slow. Let's kind of wait on this Pan-African thing. 55 years later, 56 this year, we're still going slow. As if it wasn't bad enough that we were divided up into the tiny little countries that we are today. The gift that Berlin Conference gave us. One other thing that France did between 1958 and 1961 in the name of giving us our independence as African countries. France forced the Francophone, and I hate that terminology. There is no such thing as Francophone, Anglophone. They made it up. But for the purposes of communication, I will use that. 14 of those countries, they said, in order for you to get your independence from us, you must sign this document. You thought they could have found a better name for the document. The document was called the Pact for the Continuation. I repeat, the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. We are talking about giving you independence, but sign this pact for the continuation of colonization in a different format. And I'm going to highlight some of those issues that they said you must agree to if you are going to be independent. Hello. Maybe we need to redefine the meaning of independence for the French. First, France said, you see, you monkeys, you don't know how to manage your money. We're going to demand that you deposit 85% of your bank reserves with the French Minister of Finance. Under the French Central Bank, under the control of the French Minister of Finance.
Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from the Republic of Kenya in Nairobi. Thank you very much, viewers. Wherever you are in the world, we are sorry for the delay in our broadcast. We would have been here by 2 p.m. East African Standard Time. But wherever you are on the continent, thank you very much. This is the only prime television, a prime program that talks about Africa that looks into Africa, what ails Africa, what kills Africa, what can make Africa better. Many people don't want to see those solutions. Many people want to look at today and tomorrow and what they are eating. But we forecast, we see, we look at the entire Africa and see what will happen, what can happen, what might happen, what we don't want to happen. Today, in our show, we have very interesting topics that will run us through alone, and I believe because Miriam will be here tomorrow, she is on other official engagements somewhere else. Thank you very much, viewers. Those in Tripoli, those in Ghana, 63 years of independence. What has Ghana gained? We shall look at that also. But the first topic, or the topics, most of them will come from Kenya. And on Kenya, we have several topics lined up this morning, this afternoon, and this morning, wherever you are in Europe, because some people are just waking up now in Europe, and in America, people are just beginning to see the morning breeze coming out of the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, both of them. Thank you very much, viewers. This is Punchline Africa Television, the only television station that talks about Africa. Those in Harare, Zimbabwe, thank you very much. Keep it up. Those in South Africa, Cape Town, PLO Lumumba, thank you very much. You are in Cape Town. Thank you. You have sent a message. Thank you very much. Those around Africa, in Kigali, in Kampala, in Juba, in Asmara, in Khartoum, in Dar es Salaam, in Djibouti, thank you very much. Cairo, Libya, Tripoli, Algiers, Algeria, Tunisia, Tunis, Morocco, Rabat. Thank you very much. Good afternoon again. We are here to bring to you an analysis of political events and the current affairs making headlines in Kenya. First, the program will flow as it is, as I have said much earlier. We are going to begin with Kenya, and in Kenya we shall look at the news headlines. Are things falling apart in the Jubilee Party and in the government? The Big Four agenda. How far is near? Politics of hostage sympathy and violence. We have a problem in this country where all the things are merged up. That summarizes us on Kenya. And the rest of Africa, we shall look at Somalia. Let Kenya and Somalia talk peace instead of violence and court cases. I want to thank both presidents and President Uhuru Kenyatta, who has dispatched a delegation led by the Minister of Interior, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, to Mogadishu for discussion. We shall look at that. South Sudan, is the peace holding? What is needed? Of course, money is needed to hold the peace. Nigeria, we shall look, is it a collapsed state? I want only answers, quick, short answers on Nigeria. Is Nigeria a collapsed state? I think from the onset, very many people will say yes. I will also yes. But I will also see where Nigeria is borrowing money today instead of Nigeria lending us money. Africa, where are we bewitched? Ghana's 63 years, not 66. 63 years, and we did not correct it here. Sorry about the mistake. Those reading our flyer, I was thinking of another country in Africa which got independence before Ghana. But it is 63 years of independence since 1957, when Kwame Nkrumah got the Union flag down and brought the Ghanaian flag up. President Addo, Nana Addo, how far has he gone? What has he done? Is Ghana an example of the Africa that we want? We shall look at that. Then we come back, time allowing, we shall also look at the signs of a solution are near, are here. In Cameroon, Amazonians, there is some light coming up from the United Nations Security Council. There's something coming up. Don't worry, there's something coming up from the Americans. My American friends have told me there's something wrong that must be corrected. But here we are, and that is what we need. That is what we want to talk about this afternoon. Yes, let me come back to Kenya. Is Ruto on the warpath? That's a headline. And today I want to take this opportunity to thank my mom, my other women, other women on planet Earth, because today is a Women's Day. A woman is the mother of all mothers. A woman looks after you. I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Mom. Yes, for having brought this voice for the voiceless on Africa, for the African continent. Thank you very much, Mom. Mom, thank you. Today is Mom's Day. The moms, our women, must be given respect. Have we done enough to bring them up to the standard that there is equality? There is equality, and we harness their development. We give them what they want. Women's Day today is being celebrated 8th of March, the year of our Lord. Every year we celebrate the Women's Day. In Kenya, we have a photograph of the standard which my team can put on the. We have Madam Ngina Kenyatta. We have Dr. She has been there throughout. She has been in all. We have Wangare Maathai. We have Dr. Mugenda. We have Martha Karua. We have so many tough women like Ngiru. We have Dr. Were. We have several ladies who have worked so hard. We have Mama Mwendwa. We have several of them in this country. We have Mama Miria Obote. Mama, wherever you are. Mama, thank you very much for having looked after us after our government was overthrown in 1985, 27th July. You stood by us, you cooked for many of us. Over 100 of us were eating in one pot. Mama, you are very, very great. You're a great woman, Mama Miria Obote. Miria Obote, the lady, the widow of Dr. Militon Obote. I have never forgotten the generosity that you gave to most of us at that time, at the younger age of about 29 by then. Some of us benefited a lot. You cooked for us in Muthaiga. You allowed us to have some shelter, solace. Thank you, Mama. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. May God hold you. And we want to pass greetings to all our mothers, all our wives, all our children, all my daughters. They are women, 5 of them. Thank you very much, my daughters. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Audrey. Work hard and be there for me. One day you reason the cases of ICC, ICJ. Good lawyer. Thank you very much, Mama. Thank you. The Women's Day today, that is where it is. On the top of the standard we have seen a warpath. The man has come out on warpath. But why on warpath? Why? Why? Why does Africa use mass hysteria and mass sympathy? What is the problem? Why do you cover yourselves in masses? Why do you alert sleeping dogs to lie? Why do you use masses as your protection instead of using integrity as your protection? What is the problem here? You are in the government. You are the same government. And then you are telling us the government wants to kill you. So what about us who are not even near there? That is my question. I leave it to Kenyans. It is up to you. I will speak very little if you notice from today, about this man. Because generally, I'm fed up. These are people who don't learn lessons. There are people in this world who don't learn lessons. A few years, 10 years ago, we were in the ICC. Our lips were white. Everything was bad for us. Jermaine, you don't see. Some of us lost our jobs in where we are working because we are standing to make sure that such people don't go to be jailed. But we have come back to the same level. Again, we are sharpening our tongues. We are sharpening against each other. Why? Why don't you solve these things quietly without putting tension amongst the citizens? The citizens of Kenya are living under the politics of hostage, fear, and sympathy. A sympathy catch. To be sympathized. When it is corruption, it is me being targeted. Sympathize with me. When there is landslide, it is me. When there is dam money, it is me. This syndrome of me, why you? Isn't it time to sit down and sort these things behind the scenes with the people in the government? These people are in the system. I ask the deputy president as an elder. I will speak as an elder and I hope he gets this step. Please, go and sort these things with the president. Go there and sort them out. Some of these statements worry everybody, worry investors, worry people. People are not going to come here to invest. You are worrying people. You are creating a tension. You are creating a very dangerous, streets. People are getting scared. Those who live are being held as hostages because they live near your homes or outside your homes or somewhere else in this country. It is not very good. Please, just discuss these things behind the scenes with the president. Finish them. Allow the agencies that constitutionally you put in place. If they come with a report, let it come out. If it is bad, the people will make judgment. But don't politicize it first. Don't make it as if it is already bad. Then when it comes out, then there is a problem. No, Mr. Deputy President, no. The statement of yesterday, you are my friend. Anybody can pretend that I am not your friend. I am your friend. I have no problem with you. Because I went to the ICC, you saw me. You saw me struggling. You didn't even know me. You did not know me. But the people who are encouraging you into this path are the same people who bought witnesses. Moses Kuria was buying witnesses to fix you. And he's busy talking about this whole thing, drumming up. Tomorrow, it is you and your family who will be more concerned. The Moses Kurias will come to collect more money from you. I am honest. I've never come to you to collect money. Neither have you given me any money. Never. But the people who are collecting money from you and telling you to go and create tension, these same guys will buy witnesses tomorrow. Yes. Just sort this thing with the president. Go there, the State House, go and you people sit down because Kenyans are now getting fed up. Business is not running properly. People are not eating. They don't have money. And there is tension caused by inflammatory statements like the tape of yesterday. It is doing rounds everywhere. Somebody is trying to kill someone. Who is killing who? I don't know. All of us have one destiny. We shall go. But don't make others go faster. Leave God take them. This younger man left a family. You can see it. We need answers. We need answers concretely. People need answers, serious answers. If there are telephone records, bring them out. Let people know who was the last person who communicated and who is the person who erased the records. Bring it out. And the DCI is taking its time to bring it out. Give them chance. Give them space. Don't politicize things. That's all I can say. Don't hold people hostage under sympathy. If people have sympathy, people might like you. But the more you go crying for sympathy, the more problems there. Everybody starts to say, oh, what about tomorrow? If we give this man leadership, how many times will he cry for us to help him? It is sad that such a headline is here, overshadowing many things that could have been done properly. The same on the Sunday Nation. These are not good statements, but I will take a step further. I have liked the Sunday Nation opinion. I had written about the same, but I think mine will not come. Mine is on my page, on my blog. I have analyzed, I've made comments, very serious comments. And I want to thank the Sunday Nation for the commentary, the opinion that they wrote. It says Ruto should tone down his utterances. If you can bring that page on the page 14 of the opinion poll, you can pick it from my platform. Ruto, it is true. These things, you are a member of National Security Agency. Why don't you discuss these things in the security agency? Why are you playing to the gallery? What do you want from us? Because even if we hear, we wouldn't know who is wanting to do what. It is only that agency in the security that can know where the trouble is coming from. And it comes when you are shadowed with very many busybodies. Some of the busybodies are just hangers-on who cause you more trouble. Who might be doing things that are contrary to what you are when you are sleeping. Leaders should be very careful. What kills governments in Africa are leaders listening to hangers-on, blue-suited men. Be careful. I have been in several governments since 1978. I saw Mutesa. I was alive. Mutesa went down. Idi Amin Obote took over. Obote went down. Amin took over. We removed Idi Amin. This time some of us participated in the war. Amin went down. We brought in Yusuf Lule. I was there. I was in Kampala. I was in active combat. We put him there. 68 days passed. He started insulting us. We removed him. Yes, we put another one called Binaisa. After 1 year and some months, he started saying the city is so sweet. We removed him. I was in participation. We have removed several governments in my country. We put in Paul Mwanga with that Museveni there. I was in the Political and Diplomatic Commission after the fall of Idi Amin. I was a member of the Political and Diplomatic Commission with Nasasira, Rugumayo, Yashtandon, Omonyo Jok, and Dan Odada Nabudere. We have been there. Paul Mwanga was the vice chairman. was the chairman of the military commission. Museveni was the vice chairman of the military commission. We decided we want to organize an election. We did organize an election of 1980, a shambled election. I don't want to say a lie because it was shambled. Now, by my standards, had I been there at that time, I was there. But now when I read and increased my knowledge, expanded, I found this election was not very fair. Okay, we held 1980. We returned Dr. Milton Obote from Tanzania from exile. In Bushenyi, I was there in combat. I've seen all these things. I went back to school. I went back to work. 1980, 81, Museveni enters the bush. I've seen all this. Started fighting us in Luwelo Triangle near the city. We started battles with President Museveni a long time ago, 1981. I've seen all these governments in my country collapse. So when I talk about the governance, listen to me, because I've seen them. Nobody in Uganda will say he did not see me. I've been there. 1985, our own soldiers called us on radio call, and they said, leave the capital. We are coming for you. Most of us had friends with them. We lost. 1985, July 27th, Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, we lost a government. Obote was overthrown. Our own generals took over. The generals took over and they thought it was very easy. They would run over Museveni. Museveni put them down. They started negotiation. They were also overthrown. Those who overthrew us in 1985 found us in exile. We all became refugees. From 1986 to date, Museveni has been in power. So I have seen a lot threats. The deputy president talks about threats. He has not seen threats yet. Some of us were even threatened by, they send women to poison you. They send women to kill you. Beautiful women to sleep with them. You refuse. They kill your here, one person, 3 people, on this. We're still here. So this type of thing in government, sort them behind the scenes. You are making the nationals of this country scared. And that's it. I'm an leader. It will be very sad for me not to talk about this and sit here. Yet these are my friends. 2007, 2008, nobody wanted to see you, Dr. William Ruto. 2008, 2009, nobody wanted to see you. They all wanted you to be locked up. And therefore, I am just appealing that please take it, Your Excellency, take it lightly, solve these things together with the president. Go back, the president, and sort it out. Go back to the president. What is the president? What ails all of you? You are members of Jubilee Party. Look for the president and sort these things behind the scenes. You are bringing tension in this country. Inflammatory statements. And the MPs who are moving around and who, very soon, television stations should black out some of these MPs. You know? Some of these MPs. Statements of inflammation. You should ban Kuria from talking on TV. There's another one from Nyeri, Mavira, who used to work with Uhuru. Now he has turned against Uhuru. Ban him from the station. Why are you giving them? These are the things leading us to ICC. Jamen, I was in ICC. I was doing it for the sake of Kenya. Why are you doing these things again here, Jamen? Jamen. Jamen. DP. Imambo. Muwache. Something wrong can happen and it can cause a lot of problems. Please, Thank you very much, viewers. Those are the headlines. I can see there are people who have talked about several things, the funeral and so on. May his soul rest in peace, Jamen. That's it. You've gone go ye, brother. Let's leave it to the DCI. You created institutions. Kenyans, you created institutions. You gave the DCI work. Let him work. Don't condemn him before he finishes. Every institution uses media in Scotland Yard, in Britain, in UK, even if it is a rat that was stepped on by a motor vehicle, and that rat was a petty rat, not the one that eats your feet. The Scotland Yard will call a press conference to jog people's memory. Did you see this rat pass the road? So there is nothing wrong with the DCI using the media because he wants to jog the memory. Who saw this, Mr. Kenei? Where did you see him on those particular days? Whom was he with? Which hotel was he? You jog the memory. That is allowed. Kenyans, please, 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 please. That's allowed. Let's wait for the results. They come and we take it. If those results come, we shall take them as they are. The big four. I can see my friends Kagwanja, Professor Peter Kagwanja has written an article here. I will attach it. But he hasn't outdone me on the news that I've done on, I've given Somalia and Kenya a knockout. And I've laid my ground to the Security Council, to the Secretary General. And in case you don't know, Guterres knows me personally. We have worked on Darfur when he was one of those people under secretaries. We met several times on the Northern Uganda war. We know each other. Don't doubt that my words are very important. I'll tell you more when it comes to Somalia. Professor Kagwanja, you have examined the conflict of Somalia, but you have not examined the conflict to the hinge of why it should go that. What is paining us here now? What is paining us? The bigger picture is, should you try to touch anything, should you make a ruling either in favor of Kenya or Somalia, we shall end in a third big war in the Indian Ocean. I warned the people about Libya. They never listened to me. Now I'm warning again. And that's why I'm going to come to that when I reach Somalia. But thank you very much for your efforts, Professor Peter Kagwanja, of analyzing the scenario, the Somali conflict, which is beginning to beam up. All this beams up because of external elements. I want someone to be very careful that there is somebody somewhere externally wanting to put this region into constant war in order to manipulate us. So be careful. At least Museveni is aware, is listening, is watching that there are people trying to create a chaos in this region. External forces, darker forces. They want this region to be fragile in order for them to take something. You see, Libya was peaceful. People were not happy. They dismembered Libya. Now they take the oil the way they want. Tankers and the tankers, their storage, they are storing this oil across, that in case one day a war erupts, France will have oil to run its own machinery. That's it. Someone is wanting to do that in between Uganda, Kenya, and Somalia. That is for another day. The big four agenda of His Excellency the President. Yes, we can see health activities running on the program, on the timelines. That is very good. Keep it up with the Big Four. We are happy with the formation of the Big Four. Let's take a break, and when I come back, I cross over to Somalia. Viewers, good morning. This morning, I want to address the issue of Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. The legacy of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya keeps on moving, keeps on going forward and forward. Since the handshake in 2018, that brought about the peace, the tranquility, the unity of purpose, President Uhuru's star has been rising. All over Africa, people are thinking of using the model that Kenya used to stop any form of violence, chaos on the streets after elections. As you know, all of you are aware that elections in Africa produce two things: after or before or after the voting. Disputed elections, winner takes it all, loser doesn't accept the results. But the Kenyan model takes us miles and miles away from back, viewers. Thank you very much for watching Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya. Viewers, wherever you are in the world, we are back on part 2, the second segment and the last segment of our show. This time, we have lined out countries that we want to look at. First, we shall look at Somalia / Kenya relations. Then we shall proceed on South Sudan. In South Sudan, we shall look at, is the peace holding? Yes, it is. What can we do to help them? Then we move to Nigeria. Is it a collapsed state? The answer can be guessed nicely, yes. Ghana, 63 years after independence. What has happened? What has been achieved? Is Ghana a model for Africa democracy? Then lastly, the good signs of a solution coming from none other than Abazonia, Cameroon. Thank you very much, viewers. Somalia and Kenya have been at war at loggerheads for some time, since Somalia filed an application in the International Court of Justice claiming to be a territory of 100,000 square kilometers in the Indian Ocean. Somalia, under the influence of foreign instigated policy, whipped by Norway, Qatar, Turkey, United Arab Emirates, and to some extent France, has moved and placed a case over against the will of Africa constitutive spirit. The African Union has got direction on boundaries. We have several places in Africa where boundaries are disputed. But the Africa constitutive mechanisms help people to resolve the matters of a boundary, the boundaries themselves, bring people on table, arbitration is done, we resolve and move forward. My stand as an African is that both Kenya and Somalia have no benefit if the ruling went either side. Whichever way the ruling of International Court of Justice, whichever direction it takes, this ruling will affect the peace that we have in this region. It is upon that on 24th of February, while I was in Netherlands and London, I picked a pen and a paper. I sat down and looked at the future of this East Africa and the Horn of Africa. I looked at the judgment that was going to be passed by the ICJ, a corrupt court, an inefficient court, headed by a Somali judge, which has no good results as far as the people of Kenya and Somalia are concerned. On 24th of February 2020, I wrote to the Secretary General. I sent the documents to the Secretary General through my friendship and my network, which is very clear. I sent the documents to the United Nations Secretary General, who has received and should receive and react. From 24th to yesterday, I had not revealed to anyone what type of actions I had taken. I want to tell you, people of Kenya, that when it comes to international operations, I'm always at your front. I am always standing by the truth. You can go to heaven and ask God, or to hell and ask Satan. Come back. But the moment the ICJ will make a ruling about the Indian Ocean maritime dispute, whether it goes to Somalia, whether it goes to Kenya, there will be war. It is this war that I, David Matsanga, is seeking to stop. It is this war that I'm worried about, that will destabilize the entire East African region, the entire trading partnership of the East and the West, the Red Sea route, the Indian Ocean route. The hike in piracy will resume in the Indian Ocean. It is because of these many factors that, as we preoccupy ourselves on the question of ICJ, Al-Qaeda and Al-Shabaab are building day and night, crossing over from Yemen, accumulating new bases that will make the war against terrorism impossible. It is because of the ICJ preoccupation that the relationship between Somalia and Kenya deteriorated. It is because of that deterioration of the relationship that I stood up and I looked in my hotel room in the Netherlands, sat down and wrote 10 pages to the Secretary General of the United Nations Secretary, United Nations. I have put my stand very clear. I'm not bothered. You can call me any names. My records and my reasons. I have studied international law. I've studied international law. I've studied international relations. To the international level, to the highest and the last level of anybody who can cheat me, that if Somalia and Kenya go to this court to seek redress and it is given, there will be no war. If you have that evidence, bring it to me. If this ruling, if this corrupt court, which has 15 judges, no lower chamber, no higher chamber, no appeal, makes a ruling that this land belongs to Somalia, Kenya will pick up all the armory to fight Somalia. If it makes a decision that this land belongs to Kenya, Somalia will, with its affiliates, Turkey, Qatar, UAE, Iran, and others who are coming in now, will fight Kenya. It is for these reasons that I stood above all and wrote to the Secretary General, citing, one, I don't work for the Kenya government. And nobody should misunderstand me to be working as a minister or an attaché of a ministry. I don't. I work for Africa. I'm a Pan-African. I wrote to the Secretary General quoting Chapter 7 of the United Nations Charter, Article 39 and 40, that if there is something that is going to threaten the peace of this region, either locally, regionally, or internationally, these two articles, Article 39, Article 40, are invoked. Article 39 of the United Nations Security Council speaks, the Security Council shall determine the existence of any threat to peace, breach of peace, an act of aggression, and shall make recommendations or decide that measures shall be taken in accordance with Articles 41, 42 to maintain or restore international security. If you have studied anything beyond Matanga, bring it on. The ruling in the ICJ will divide, bring peace, breach peace. Kenya and Somalia will go to war. Whether you go to God and ask, that will happen. If you rule that 100 square miles belongs to Somalia, Kenya will occupy it in a few seconds. Somalia will come back to hit back to Kenya. That is a breach of peace. It goes further. And the articles are there. My production team can bring the articles. Article 40 of the United Nations Charter, United Nations Security Council, Chapter 7, in Roman, it says, in order to prevent aggravation of the situation, the Security Council may, before making the recommendations or deciding upon the measures provided for in Article 39, call upon the parties concerned to comply with provisions, measures as it deems necessary or desirable. Such provisions shall be, and let me teach these people in the foreign affairs, in ministries, both in Somalia and Kenya. If you like the people of Kenya and Somalia, wake up now. Don't tell me you are Minister of Foreign Affairs. You are PS Foreign Affairs when you even don't know. You cannot quote this to see that the peace is going to be breached. You pick up your briefcase to go to a court that is already dead. A court that has got biased judges. A court where judges have already been bought holiday homes in Qatar, in Turkey. My Jesus Christ, where are we heading? Such provisions, measures shall be without prejudice to the rights, claims, or position of the parties concerned. The Security Council shall duly take account of failure to comply with such provisions. This is already done deal. This court will not deliver justice. This court will deliver retributive justice to both Somalia and Kenya. And if you are in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and you tell me you don't know this section, then you should be sacked today. Both in Somalia and Kenya. This will bring war. I wrote an article. My production team, go to that article of Libya. Go to it. Bring it on. I want us to compare notes today. The rest can wait. Look for the article, the letter that I wrote about Libya, and tell me where Libya is today. You people who walk around with blue suits telling people that you know more than we do. Show me that article of Libya. You will see I wrote single-handedly Dr. David Matsanga. I warned people that the Security Council should not kill Libya. They should have taken down, if they hated Muammar Gaddafi, they should have not killed the entire Libya. Today, I'm vindicated. Today, nobody even wants to say thank you. I want to thank Museveni for having listened for the first time and allowed my letter to be a headline in a government newspaper in 35 years. That is the only headline, the news, because the letter said, predicted what was going to happen in Libya. And the people watching me on this program in the Foreign Affairs Ministry of Kenya, the people watching me in the Foreign Minister of Somalia, use your brains. Don't tell us nonsense. Use your brains. You know very well that you are leading us to war. Both of you. Because usually when I talk, Somalis call me names. They think I am in favor of Kenya. I want to speak independently. Because I studied the subject, nobody paid my school fees. None of the countries paid my school fees. I washed plates to pay, and the toilets in trains in London to study the subject. Therefore, I owe nobody an explanation. I speak as I am speaking now. Remove this case from the ICJ. That's my fight. And I'm going to hold a major conference. No more demonstration. Conference to show. And I'm going to beat you up, both of you. Both. I will beat your hands down, man. Both of you. I'm a non-state actor. But I promise you, single-handedly, I'm going to bring this case down. You know why? You can't allow that case, those judges, to make a ruling. Because Indian Ocean will have bazookas. That is the letter I wrote. The one to Museveni. You saw that one in the Daily Nation? Yes. That is the letter I wrote again. It is burning again. But there is one in the New Vision that I wrote to President Museveni. When another surrogate of the French intelligence denied the 5 presidents entry into Tripoli to pick Gaddafi and take him out. That is Jinping of Gabon. An intelligence officer of DSGE of France who wants to become a president of Africa, of one of the African countries. I write facts. What I predicted about Libya, God is here. Now I'm predicting about Somalia and Kenya and the Indian Ocean. Hate me, love me, kill me. If the ruling takes place in Netherlands in May, and if Kenya attempts to enter into any arrangement of this court, is a silly court, is a corrupt court. I have explained all the things attached with a bundle of all corrupt cases that ICJ has been doing for all the judges. Out of 15 judges, 13 judges have houses in Qatar, Ankara, which is Turkey, and the UAE, and Norway. The Norwegian government has been paying, facilitating corruption on an international scale. The Norwegian government has been paying the court to the extent of paying flights for the judges to influence this case. If Kenyans hear me, hear me again. You go to this court, you will come back crying. There will be a war. And therefore, for me, those who don't want to listen to me, your problem. You are missing something very strange in Matanga. Matanga always predicts, and what he says does not come to pass. Just watch the space. I want to thank the PA of the Secretary General and other friends of mine that we shall continue to struggle for this world. I was asked whether I've delivered this letter already. It's delivered. It's there. It's up to the Secretary General. It's not my problem. Matanga, mine is to highlight the seriousness. I'm not a state. I am a non-state actor. Single-handedly, I brought down ICC. A superpower called America had not seen the badness of ICC, but a single-handedly, that is my letter. This time print it out. That is the letter. Look at the dates. Look at what I predicted about Libya. And then you Kenyans come here and insult me. Insult me again. There you are. For the first time in 35 years, Museveni ordered for this letter to be on front page. Because you know me, keep it on for a long time. You know me. Museveni cannot give me even a chance. He doesn't like me. We have finished our problems. We are no longer looking for each other. Because time is the destiny. I wrote this letter on Libya by David Nyekorach Matang. It's me. And you can see When I stood for Zimbabwe, I took a good hammering. Okay? Now I told them on 23rd, 29th of March, the same month, 2011, when they had just voted to dismember Libya, I single-handedly in the world stood and said, I agree with Museveni. Mr. President, one day, God will exonerate us. We did our best to save Libya. You can see what is happening in Libya today. So the people of Kenya and Somalia, these foreign ministers who walk around that they represent foreign policies, seek a way out of that court. The court is a broken court, a corruptive court, a court that will only bring agony to the people of East Africa and the Horn of Africa. Thank you. Next is South Sudan. President Salva Kiir and Vice President Dr. Riek Machar, first Vice President, because there are 5. I want to take this opportunity to thank you. To thank you and thank you again. And thank you again, especially Dr. Riek Machar. I want to thank you for listening to me. Because if you had not listened this time, they will say, Salva Kiir will say, I am your friend. But you have listened to me. You are both my friends. Hold this peace. We are mobilizing money. We are asking the world, shouting every day to the world to get South Sudan money. South Sudan cannot sustain the peace agreement without the money. I want to add my voice. And perhaps again, I will write. Because Secretary General knows me, Guterres, that I write. The English of Shakespeare that I have, I will use it. I will write. Again, to seek more money for South Sudan. South Sudan needs money. No shortcut. It needs money to sustain this peace agreement. The fight against, we are fighting for position X, position Y, position A. That's okay. Internal juggling, that is up to you. Whatever decision you take as South Sudanese, you must go back to the basics. You must laugh. That's a very good picture. That gives me hope that in Africa, at times, there are people who listen to what I say. I am very delighted that my great friend, great friend, Dr. Riek Machar is back. Is back. Thank you, Doc. Hold it there. Your son has not given up. And I will not give up. I will make sure that one day, and one day, and one day, we get our peace. The entire Africa gets the peace. You need the money to sustain this agreement. And let all Sudanese outside and inside, all South Sudanese in the diaspora, let there be a cry for peace. Let there be a cry for more money, funding, so that the process is funded. Let's not isolate. Let's not think of opening all the wounds. Because a peace process without money could open worse wounds, could bring more factions. Don't be divided. Hold let it grow stronger. Thank you. I want to move on to Nigeria. Is Nigeria a collapsed state? The answer is yes. The government of Nigeria is a very interesting government. Nigeria government is very interesting in a manner that you can't even know whether there is a government or not. Nigeria's problem is ethnicity, corruption, and being huge. I simply bring those three factors. It's a big country that should be divided so that those who want to be wherever they are, they should be. Don't curtail people to remain in a marriage that does not work. The truth is that the Igbo are marginalized, yet they are the biggest population with over 80 million people. It is true that human rights abuses have created a big hole in Nigeria and against the government of General Buhari. It is true that the government of General Buhari is fighting an insurgence of Boko Haram, which he promised the whole world that he will defeat them. He can't defeat them. He might be part of the Boko Haram, if I'm not mistaken. It is true that corruption has sunk Nigeria to the lowest position in Africa's standing, in the world standing. It is true and very sad that in Nigeria, lives are taken like a toilet paper. They are used. The human rights abuses that are conducted by the Buhari government in the southeastern Nigeria are not ones that I want to show on this television station. The bulk of the population under the protection of Nigerian state don't feel that they are in Nigeria. They don't trust their own government. Sadly, when Nigerian state does not make an impact on the lives of individuals, these benefits of oil and so on are irrelevant. Because the people don't feel they have oil. The Ogoni, the strife in the Ogoni, the Delta region, they have oil, the pollution. The people don't feel it. People sleep on boats in water. Houses are built in water. And the government is busy pumping oil with multinational companies that take oil out of Nigeria. It is sad, therefore, for the government of Nigeria to show us Africans a very bad example. We thought we could come to them. We thought we could go to them to seek help. But we are seeking help to those who are helpless themselves. It's sad. General Buhari, I think among all the leaders of Nigeria, you have shown us the true colors of how bad a general can come from the uniforms, become a politician, and destroy a country. That's all I can summarize on the country called Nigeria. We are moving fast. I think we're in time. We move to Cameroon. The situation in Cameroon, in Amazonia, is worse. Millions and millions of people are dying as we speak. There is a window of good air. The United States Congress has listened to us, and we seem to have penetrated the Congress, and we shall soon deliver serious resolutions that could affect the government of Mr. Paul Biya. Mr. Paul Biya has been stealing money for 42 years in power. He has left the rest of Cameroon, Yaoundé, Cameroon, Amazonia. They are poor people, yet the oil is being drilled every day. Chinese, Norwegians, French, Americans. Time has come as Africans to think, what is it? What is it that Africa can do? What is it that Africa itself can stand up and challenge these leaders who stick to power until they start sleeping on power? The leadership in Africa sleeps on power, in power, with power. I think you have seen three: in power, with power, in power, with power. That's the slogan for the African leaders. Once they grab it, wanalala ndani, wanalala na hiyo Swahili. They sleep with power, and sleep while in power, and sleep even with power. How they do it, we all know. Every time, several countries, we have leaders who have stayed. They even tell us that after them, there is nobody else who can be able to be a leader except them. But Nyerere left Tanzania, and in 35 years of our Uganda, Tanzania has changed 4 presidents, and it is an African country. So you can see for yourself. Paul Biya, 42 years. United States had about 4, almost 6 presidents. 6 presidents, they are gone. Some have died, some are still alive. But Paul Biya says he's the only one in Cameroon because he knows to speak the best French. He knows how to wash the legs of the French presidents in order to survive. Paul Biya is a porter of Macron. Yet Macron is younger than Paul Biya. Macron was not born. Paul Biya was born when Paul Biya has just taken over power from Ahidjo. Look at where Macron is. He's a leader of a superpower, a security member, number 5, that has stuck with us. But where are we heading from here? We are heading in a state where Africans must rise and dismantle this type of regimes. But we must have African solution. Dismantling a regime without what you will do for them does not help us. People just dismantled Libya. and you can see what Libya is today. Lastly, I want to take this opportunity to cross over to the home of my friend Gordon Opio has written to me just now and I sent a message. But Gordon, I will not read it because I will be called I am biased. And I think it's better these are some of the, look at the mess. Look at the Somalia I see. Oh my God. Gordon Opio, you have said I should read it. He said Monica Juma was kicked out of Harambee House by MPs after they claimed she was extremely arrogant and a diplomatic, rude, incompetent. She became the first person to be roundly rejected by the very weak parliament, a parliament that passed the appointment of Echesa to be a CS, and all he had was a birth certificate. Hey? Mr. Echesa had a birth certificate only. After being rejected by parliament, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, in his wisdom, selected her to be the CS in charge of foreign affairs. Look at the mess. Look at the Somalia ICJ case. Look at the mess in Mandela. Until MPs were forced to be diplomats. I am told that the Mogadishu government only cooled off after the Ethiopian Prime Minister told them to go slow. With people like Echesa, and Juma in cabinet, we should not be, this is disclaimer. We are not the authors. Mr. Gordon Opio, it is on his Facebook. He has just written it and sent it to us. And we have read. But we don't, like on the question of ICJ Somalia, Monica found the problem was there already. I stand to correct because I know a bit of it. There was a problem. The biggest man who made us have a problem is the former Attorney General. Yes, I can't put Monica at the center of the Somalia ICJ crisis. No. People wanted to go there. People wanted allowances. ICJ is not a criminal court. ICJ is not a summons that will take your food from the plate. Under Article 34 of the ICJ Charter, we could have refused to go. But we didn't. Because people were interested in going. They were interested in going. They were interested in going. People were interested. People were interested in going. They wanted to go. To earn allowance. It's not Juma. It's not Monica Juma. No. Monica Juma found this problem there. But the problem is they didn't open it up for lobby. There's no case, and I swear before God here, you can't win a case in those courts without international lobby and without lobbyists and activists. You are wasting your time. Thank you very much. we can see a picture that has just come in for us is President Uhuru Kenyatta is received at the stadium in at Kasarani. I think they let them bring this is at Kasarani. Is received at the stadium by Kasarani. The match is between my team AFC and the other team called Gor Mahia, dubbed as Mashemeji Derby. I support AFC Leopards, and I've supported it even if it hasn't performed well. I supported it during those good days, and I will continue to support them like a Liverpool. We don't walk alone, but a few weeks ago, somebody took our God off. I don't know. We started walking alone. But we have recaptured, we have come back, and we are not going to be defeated anymore. That is the picture of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta wearing a BBI, I think so, a kofia and a Kenyan tracksuit with Raila Amolo Odinga wearing a white shirt, a kofia, and they are at Nyayo Stadium. Somebody behind looks like is from Somalia. The diplomat seated behind the president. But I want to thank the president for having sent the Minister of Interior, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, to Mogadishu to discuss the conflict. We shall do our best to help. All right. The last topic now, we have only, we said a quarter to 4. Yes. We are there. It's Ghana. Ghana, a country that got independence first in 1957 in Africa. What has it done and what can it do? Ghana, facts. Today I had quite a lot, but I will spare some of these Africa stories until tomorrow. Ghana, when I will read them. Ghana, 63 years of independence. What has been achieved? Ghana got independence on 6th March 1957 under Nkrumah. 1960, Ghana became a republic after gaining freedom from British rule. It took them some time to even bargain. Ghana took another one major step in democracy. July 1st, 1960, the day in which Ghana got independence. 1992, writing a new constitution and the restoration of democracy. After decades of military rule, the first military coup took place in Ghana. 1965, when Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown, removed from power while he was in the Soviet Union. 1997, appointment of Kofi Annan as a Secretary General, very important factor for Ghana, the first Ghanaian who became a Secretary General of the United Nations. Ghana, the Ghanaians diplomat was very instrumental. He won a Nobel Peace Prize. Kofi Annan was also chairman of Elders, an international. I don't like to read about him, but he was a Ghanaian. In 2004, the discovery of oil on the shores of Atlantic Ocean brought Ghana the stand. Ghana today shows of 3 billion barrels of sweet crude oil, and it is better, it is being utilized efficiently. Corruption is down, and the things have moved on well. In 1978, Ghana won the Africa Cup of Nations for the second time, and got to keep the trophy. And today, the president of Ghana is Nana Addo. The democracy in Ghana is a living example for Africa. Elections are won. The losers accept. They go home. In Africa, other parts, the losers call their supporters to the streets, take off their shirts, call George Soros to give them money, and beat up people, break property, enjoy the mess that is on the streets. Viewers, I want to take this opportunity to thank you, and to thank you so well for having watched Africa. Africa is with you. Right now we switch on to our radio station, which is by Mr. Pamba. Na pambana na mapambo nana. Mjamaa huyu anapambana na Kiswahili, anapambana na Kiingereza. Weso and the Pamba. That is, they don't know how to coin these things. I will myself come on the show one of these days, coin their tag names, Weso and the Pamba. Ndugu Pamba mpenzi, take it from here. If you want to listen to the music of Africa from any angle, any number you want, call our radio station. The only radio station 24 hours, 365 days, 7 days a week. We are sending good African music from Tanzania, from South Africa, from Zimbabwe, from DRC Congo, from Somalia. Yesterday I met a Somali woman, very beautiful, in town. She said, I see you on TV. Are you also the owner of the... I saw you playing Somali music on a radio station. Is that it? I said, yes. Those are the type of things that we want. We want to bring Africa together. So, don't be bored at home. Don't quarrel with mama. Don't quarrel with your wife. Don't quarrel with children. Don't quarrel with neighbors. Tune radio Punchline Africa. Listen to good numbers. Shake your bones. Shake your body. Shake. There are good presenters there. I will soon be joining them myself to be working Moto. Next week, Moto Iwake. Thank you very much, viewers. Stay together, Kenyans. Your Excellency, Deputy President, please address these matters with the President. Please, don't address them to the public. You are making the public to be militarized against certain sections. That's my last word. This station is for Africa, with Africa, by Africa. Ciao.